We are going to talk about archaeo-astronomical aspects of Lepenski Vir, and to mention two things. First is the double rise of the suns, or double sunrise at Treskavac, and the other one is the mysterious spheroid, a kind of a stone ball with some signs. Okay, so let us see what is archaeoastronomy. It is a very young science, and it studies ways at which old people viewed the sky, and ways in which they understood what they see on the sky. Okay, and we have something that is connected, and that is ethno-astronomy, and that means it studies old knowledges about celestial phenomena at certain nation or people, and the ways that they understood and remembered those knowledges. Okay, for example, in folk belief, through folk beliefs, through folk poetry, some myth, legends about sky, etc. So, in Serbia, archaeoastronomy is introduced by Aleksandra Sanja Bajic. She's a neuropsychiatrist, and she is a kind of a researcher of some researchers in religion and archaeoastronomer now, and a person that we heard of, Hristivoje Pavlović. Remember his house? Okay, like a half bowl, half polukalota, half kalota. A suggestion how the house on Lepenski Vir might have looked like. Okay, and he's an architect. So those two introduced archaeoastronomy in our country. So first, why Lepenski Vir? We said that the Danube is going on the south, okay, southward, and from the original place of Lepenski Vir, when you look at the other side, where is Romania, and this rock, volcanic rock Treskavac, you are basically looking at the east. So they saw the sunrise, and not just so, but they were seeing it during the year. And for example, from here until here was the sunrise. Okay, it moved each day. Okay, and all the houses have the same orientation. They look at that Treskavac, except three. But what happened? How do we know if a place or a settlement is, or that people knew things about the sky, about the constellation of stars, etc., that they have that archaeoastronomical, that astronomical knowledge? Because of the position of their houses, for example. And all the houses, this is our example of the house, okay, remember? So this is towards Danube and towards the Treskavac. When you put a line in the middle, symmetrical line, it hits a certain point at the other side at Treskavac, at that rock, and that point is astronomically important, in the calendar important. So that is, for example, the equinox, okay, the spring equinox. That was the most important date. They Sanja and Hristivoje studied 24 houses, and only 3 of them were not facing the river fully. Houses 10, 49, and 26. So the house 26 was oriented towards the south too much, okay, but it looked exactly at the point where in the winter, the beginning of winter, when the day is the shortest and the night is the longest. That's the point. So everything is astronomically sensitive. Okay, we were talking about houses. You understood about okay, so only slight deviations. But what was the biggest problem? The sky today from the original place, okay, let us say this is the original place where Lepenski Vir was, is not the same. It changed during this 9 or 10,000 years, okay? It changed, just changed. And when they were doing those calculations about 5 or 6 years ago, there weren't those charts how the sky looked like then. I think the oldest was, she told me about 2,500 or 3,500. So they had, Sanja and Hristivoje had to do the mathematic calculations, you know, they didn't have charts. They had to do it themselves. Okay, to see how the sky looked like then. But what's interesting, I told you that they moved the original Lepenski Vir settlement to another place that's very near, about less than 100 meters and upstream, okay? And it's about 30 meters higher in the new museum. And what's crazy, from the new museum today, when you look at Treskavac, you can see the phenomena that we're going to talk about, and that's the double sunrise at the 22nd of June. So that's the summer equinox. Is it? No, that's the longest day. That's the longest day. Okay. So midsummer. Okay. So why was that phenomena important for them? They're here at the this is the north. The north part of Treskavac. There's a spiky rock, a little spiky rock. So the 22nd of June, sun rises here and then gets behind the rock. So it's like just you cannot see anything, and then it rises again at the top of Treskavac. Okay, let me see if we have something. This is a bit dramatical. So this is the sunrise. Okay, I'm going to put those photographs at you can find them in Facebook pages Seven Rivers Earth and Prehistoric Mojo. Okay, and then something a bit different. You need a movie for this. You cannot see it. Okay, this is this dramatic one. These are those points on Treskavac where it rises. Okay, different rocks and everything. It's in Serbian, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and this is something a little bit similar. This is Egypt. So what we have there, we have the moment of sunrise and the sun going down, but on the important when the day is shortest and when the day is longest during the year, they thought that those moments are very sacred, okay? And they even have a hieroglyph that's called a symbol, Achet, that symbolizes the sun disk between like two something like this. Okay, I will show you. It looks like this. So that's the sunrise. Okay, very interesting. And maybe it's a speculation, something similar we have at Lepenski Vir, and that is the those kinds of altars. Sometimes they look like they have a sun inside it, but it's not very probable. Okay, but why would in a non-agricultural place like Lepenski Vir most of the time was, why are those things important? Because that was the way that they detected time. For example, I told you about those sturgeons that were anadrome fishes that lived in the sea, in the Black Sea, and then came upstream to how do you say, to make babies, okay, and then went away later, and it was a situation that was repeating every year. And then we have deers and their antlers. They are losing antlers at autumn and then getting them again in the spring. So there are some cyclic moments during the year. Okay. I think it's enough about the double sunrise. So you can see it today from the museum. And the other thing that we wanted to talk is that mystical spheroid artifact. It is a accidental finding. So that means we don't know exactly where it was found, you know, but it was somewhere on Lepenski Vir, in the Lepenski Vir settlement. It is a kind of ball. I will show you how it looks like. Okay, this is it. It's a ball about 4.5 centimeters. It's like a plum or a smaller egg. It looks like that. It's spheroid, ovoid. And it's 4.5 centimeters high, and the diameter is 4 centimeters. Okay. So it was found by Mirko Sikiric and then given to the National Museum in Belgrade. Then Zagorka Letic, archaeologist, took it. It was with her until 2004, and now it is Professor Dubravka Nikolic has it. Okay, so Hristivoje went there and he took some photographs, and then Hristivoje and Alexandra Bajic wrote a book, The Son of Lepenski Vir, okay, where they explained about this spherical ball. Strejovic in his book said, had a kind of he talked about small engraved pebbles. He didn't say anything about this one. He just mentioned them as a group. So we had a lot of them, smaller than a tennis ball, okay? It's not those big sculptures that we talked about. So we have some carved patterns here. You see, we have like 10 slices, okay, vertical, and we have 4 horizontal that look like parallels, okay? And here goes my cigarette. Doesn't matter. Okay, with some signs. First person that talked about that was Shon Milton Winns, and he was a student of Maria Gimbutas, a big name for Southeastern archaeology and mythology and everything. In his work from 1981 from Berkeley, called Pre-Writing in Southeastern Europe, he got a scheme and showed those carvings and said he thought it was a kind of a proto-script. Okay, proto-script. Okay. Archeologist Merlini, Marco Merlini, Italian, agreed. And then we have a lawyer from Germany, Andis Kaulins, who suggested the archaeo-astronomical point that maybe some of those signs are sky constellations, star constellations, and then he was explaining it, the constellation of the swan, the dragon, big chariot, Hercules without corona borealis, etc., etc. Okay, so you have those like different, how do you say, places, but all of them don't have those signs. Okay, you have without signs too, and I will show you how it looks like. How it looked like. Okay, this is from another angle. It has a kind of a hole on the upper part and the hole on the down part. Okay, that is 1.5 centimeters big, and it can be, so the whole artifact can be put on a kind of a stick that is like a pencil. Okay, that has a diameter like a pencil. That's important because maybe we don't know its purpose, okay, for defining its purpose or finding out. Kaulin said it is a primitive map of the north Nebeska Hemisfera constellation of sky, okay, of stars, but the north. At that time, of course. What can it be? It can be, for example, first, some of the signs are repeating. Then, it can be just a kind of a scepter or amulet. Scepter you can put on the stick, or amulet. Or it can be some kind of a first calendar, or mnemotechnical mean for a mythic narrative. Okay, that means to shorthand a story. Protoscript, or a mean for prediction and divination, maybe. We don't know. Okay, let's see how those signs looked like. Okay, this is the upper part. Let me show you, like this. Okay, and this is the stellar constellation that Kaulins thought this is what it looked like. Okay, the original. Okay, this is a scheme from Shon Milton Winns. Okay, like this. You see 4 and 10. 40 those places, but his scheme wasn't accurate. This is what everybody, so this is the only thing that you have on internet, okay, but it is not accurate, and I will give you now the real thing, and that is this is the most important thing. Okay, this is how those signs really look like. So if you want to decipher it, you have to know how those signs look like really. Okay, And Hristivoj Pavlović, who's an architect, he made a drawing, exact drawing on this. So this is very important. So if you're thinking about this ball, about this mystical item, you consider this scheme. Okay. And then we have, yes, at that time, I don't know some other at that time that this is, for example, 8,000 years before Christ, something like that, between 8 and 7,000, for example, or between 7 and 6,500 years before Christ. Okay, but much later on in England, in Scotland, we have some carved balls. They're not the same, of course, but we have something similar, very, you know, it's not that similar, but they are carved balls. You can see them, and this one is very interesting, but this is aesthetically pleasing. So maybe the people from Scotland, the old people from Scotland, and this is all in Glasgow Museum, maybe they it's l'art pour l'art. It's just because it's nice. It's an artwork without any special meaning. But those signs on our ball, spherical, from Lepenski Vir, they're not that nice. To me, they look like a calendar of sowing. So, for example, you know, in February, you put seed of carrot in the ground, and in, I don't know, March, you have a cabbage, to, you know, something like that. And even there's one sign that looks like an arrow with those like feathers. That may be, I don't know, the sunrise at that special date. Okay, that's it for today. Next time, next coffee, it's going to be about what Lepenski Vir people thought about their death and about their deceased. So we're gonna have fun. Take care. Please take care. Stay safe. Have fun. See you. Thank you.